Hello, and thanks for coming. My name is Denise, and I'm just getting started on this exciting road to becoming a YouTuber. And my focus is health and wellness. I am super, super eager to get going on this and to share informative, interesting stuff with you that I hope will help you in your journey through life. However, I cannot do this without your help. Please subscribe, like, and hit the bell notification if you would like me to deliver more content. I promise you, I will give it everything I've got to evolve this and to the highest quality that I can possibly do. I promise you that. And, everything wellness, it's nutrition, um, you know, fitness, but also spiritual wellness and mental health wellness goes along with that too. I'll be talking a lot about that and just a lot of different wellness topics. If you've seen some of my videos already, you get a sort of a good idea, but I don't know which way it's evolving. I'm hoping to get from the comments from people on which way to go with this. But I really appreciate your comments, suggestions, and constructive criticism to help me grow my channel. Thank you very much. Hi. Today, it's going to be a nutrition topic, and it's something that I'm kind of excited to talk about, and there'll probably be a few more videos on the same kind of topic. So it's called No More Calorie Counting or Tracking, and do this instead. I've got 5 tips that you can follow if you've been tracking all along and you kind of like it. Then you can continue tracking, then, don't fix what's not broken. But if you really hate tracking and you've been tracking, or people are trying to tell you to track your food and you don't like it, and this might get you out of that, and you can still eat reasonably well and actually probably no different than you were before. So yeah, this is the do this instead, one of those kind of videos that we see quite a bit on YouTube. But anyway, before I get into that, disclaimer, I'm not a dietitian and I'm not a doctor. I have a bachelor's of science in nutrition and food science. I am also a health coach and I've worked with obese patients in a medical clinic for the past 6 years. So I do have a lot of knowledge in this area. But it is through this lens that I'm going to share the 5 tips. Okay, so when I was a child back in the 60s and 70s, young women in their 20s and 30s at that time were all about losing weight, keeping it off through tracking calories. It was all about calorie counting. I'm sure if you were my age or older, or maybe even a little bit younger, then you remember the same thing, because you couldn't lose weight without those calories. The calories count. It's like you got to track your calories. And there were a lot of women back then, especially women. There weren't men for some reason back then. Men didn't seem to worry about their weight or about what they were eating. Really, at least where I'm from, it was always women. And a lot of them in their 20s and 30s, they had children. They had 2, 3 kids. They had more kids back then, and they had them younger. And I guess it was starting to show in their bodies. I don't know, because I was too young back then to notice that kind of thing or to realize the importance of it. And so, I didn't know. I just knew that women were tracking their calories and counting calories and talking about calories all the time. Yeah, it was all calories, calories, calories. And even on the TV, the Diet Pepsi commercial, gotta start watching those calories, girls. And I never really understood. I mean, I was only 7 or 8 at that time, and really understood what that was about. But it was then is you have a Diet Pepsi and you're starting to track your calories. So this kind of stuff continued even into the 80s. The calorie books, I remember going to the bookstore, and calorie books were just the main thing right there, standing there waiting for you in the health and fitness section, as if, you couldn't be healthy without counting your calories. All right, so that's why a lot of people in my generation have had calories just drilled into their heads. And it's hard to get that out. It's hard to believe that you can be healthy, or you can lose weight, or you can maintain your weight without tracking your calories. It's like, is there any other way? Because it's awful. It's boring. And well, most people don't like it. And it just makes eating not fun. And so there is another way that is less painful, more enjoyable, and way more natural. And more effectively, I think it's way more, or more important, it's way more effective. When you think about it, tracking all your calories and thinking about it all the time, that just makes you obsess with it, and you're thinking about food all the time, and that makes it harder to control what you're eating when you're thinking about food all the time. So this gets you away from thinking about food. So anyway, before doing this, I did a YouTube search just to see, like the stop tracking your calories, stop counting calories, and it's all over the place, and nobody wants you to count calories anymore. And that's a good thing, but they all have their own way, track your macros, or do this instead. And so anyway, these are my 5 tips that might not be the same as somebody else who might be, like into bodybuilding, might want to be tracking your protein, maybe some more. But this is strictly wellness for any body type, any age, any gender, any fitness level, any ability, whatever. This is just tracking your food, being healthy through what you eat, and being good, feeling good about it. Food should be enjoyable. And if tracking is taking the joy out of your food, then you are missing out on one of life's greatest pleasures. All right, so ready for the tips? Tip number 1, focus on the quality of your food. And you hear that quite a bit, the quality of your food. What is the quality of your food? Well, where I was working in the medical clinic, working with obese patients, we talk about the balanced plate. And the Canada's Food Guide also talks about the balanced plate. And the balanced plate is pretty simple. And it's, anybody could follow it. And I'm just going to hopefully illustrate that back here. There's the whiteboard. All right, so we have breakfast and we have lunch and dinner, and it's just the comp. So just explaining that. When we have our breakfast, so protein sources for your breakfast should be like eggs, or if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, maybe you should have like lentils, beans. Protein sources are beans, lentils, dairy, tofu, meat, anything like that. And complex carbs means things like whole grains, basically whole grains or corn, or something like that. And lunch, dinner, half your plate should be vegetables. So this is the non-starchy vegetables that we talk about. Usually vegetables would include the green leafy vegetables like the cabbage, the broccoli, and also cauliflower, asparagus, anything like that. However, corn, when we talk about corn is not considered a vegetable, it's considered a grain. So if you're eating corn as one of your servings of vegetables, and that's actually a serving of grain. So that goes in with the bread, that goes in with the cereals. It's not that it's bad, but it's a serving of grain rather than a serving of vegetables. And also, okay, so the complex carbs and the protein. So, if you're not familiar with what sources are protein sources and what sources are complex carbs and what are good non-starchy vegetables, you can just let me know in the comments, and like I can put a link or something. I'm a little bit shy right now that I'm just starting this channel, and I'm a little bit shy to put in links and things like that. I'm not 100% sure how it works, but also I'm a little bit scared that if I do link something and it's not kosher, it's not appropriate, then I'm afraid that Google might shut me. I don't know what the rules are, and I'm just reviewing that now, and so that's why I'm not sharing any links. But anyway, focus on the quality of your food, so that when you talk about this, the balance plate doesn't have to be perfect, and this is something that you can work on. And so that's basically what it, instead of counting, instead of measuring and weighing and being so tedious with everything, this is a much simpler way, and it's going to get you the same results. Okay, and so 2, portion control. When you're using your balance plate, maybe try to get a small plate or an 8-inch plate, 20 centimeter plate, like one of the old fashioned ones, not the new ones that don't even fit in the cupboards, and definitely not the type that you get in a restaurant, because those are suited, I think, for sports teams, like those huge, and those are not portion. We suffer from portion distortion. So think about portion control. What is a normal size portion? A lot of us don't know, because our portions have grown over the decades, and what we think is a good portion now is not. And so a portion, for example, of grain or potato is a half a cup. So I'm going to eat my words back, where I said you don't have to weigh or measure. When you do have a serving of grains, or a serving of something that's a high carbohydrate like a potato, a half a cup is a serving. So, to measure that out, as far as everything else, just kind of size it up with the plate, as long as it's a normal sized 8-inch or 20 centimeter plate. But yeah, you don't have to stick to the one serving of potato or one serving of rice, because that looks so small in a plate, like that little bit of potato it's almost nothing. And that half a cup of rice, I mean, that's the first mouthful basically. So, you can have 2 servings, just be mindful that it's 2 servings. And I'm not going to tell you how many servings to have, because I don't know you. And, if you're a very active person, you might need 10 servings. If you're a really small, petite person who's disabled and cannot move a whole lot, you might only need 4 servings. So it's hard to know. And so this is something that you would need to figure out on your own, or, with your dietitian. And so that's the second one. So the first one is focus on the quality, balance plate. Second one is portion control. And third one, eat at regular intervals. Regular intervals. So that's structured eating pattern. It doesn't mean that you have to get up and eat breakfast. And this is what, we tell a lot of patients at the clinic that I was working at. Start the day with breakfast. And that's because people tend to eat more at night. If they are eating at night, they tend to get hungrier. And the food that you choose at night might not be as good as the food that you choose in the morning, because we have more, we tend to choose more wisely when it comes to food, and we're not nibbling as much. So but there's nothing magic about eating breakfast, like you're gonna see a lot of stuff on the internet about, oh, you need to eat breakfast because it does this for you. When is your breakfast? Like the breakfast is when you break the fast. So, if you eat your breakfast at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, that is your breakfast. But just make sure you eat regularly, because if you're eating all over the place, your body doesn't know when to expect food, and then you're going to get hungry at different times, and it's going to be really hard to know what you're putting in your body and how much you're putting in your body. So, just a structured eating pattern. Normally people will eat 3 times a day. Uh, but some people do fine with just two, and some people do fine with intermittent fasting. If you don't know what that is, then that's okay. And if you are practicing intermittent fasting, then and you're doing fine with it, then it's not necessarily unhealthy unless you're choosing unhealthy foods. And if you want to know more about intermittent fasting, there is lots of information available, and you can talk to a dietitian about it, or just look at the information. And it's not for everyone. And especially for people with certain conditions like diabetes, it might not be good for you. It may or may not be. I don't know you personally, so I wouldn't know about that. Okay, so eat at regular intervals. And fourth, make lifestyle changes if needed. Like if you're not getting enough sleep, try to get enough sleep. It's amazing how sleep interferes with hormones, interferes with appetite, and interferes also with our metabolism. If you're not getting enough sleep, it's going to be hard. If your goal is to try to lose weight, it's going to be harder to lose weight. I guarantee it. And people who have a condition known as sleep apnea, they will tell you that they could not lose weight until they had their sleep apnea controlled. So sleep is important. And manage stress. Well, that's easier said than done. How do you do that? If you find out, then let me know, please. And so yeah, try managing your stress, because stress also, cortisol and other hormones cause it makes it harder to lose weight, and it makes it harder to keep it off, and it makes it harder to resist tempting foods, especially high sugar foods. And engage in moderate physical activity, regular moderate physical activity. So those are some of the lifestyle changes. And I'm not saying that implementing any of those is easy. Physical activity, okay, so yeah, it's not easy to make lifestyle changes. It's not easy to break the habits that you already have. I know that. And so don't beat yourself up if you try and it's not working. Just change your goals and make new ones. As long as you are moving forward with your goals, and you're making the changes, and you're having little successes. You might not have these big successes, but you're making these successes along the way. Good for you. You should congratulate yourself for that, and continue. Make small goals along the way. And the fifth thing is mindfulness. Know what you're eating and enjoy it. The food is there to be enjoyed. It's there as a gift, not a chore. It's not something that, by nature, we're not supposed to be counting our foods, like counting everything that goes into our mouths. That's not a natural, normal thing to do. Or analyze, and also more important, to feel guilty about it. If you happen to eat a cookie when you weren't, that wasn't part of your plan, the cookie's gone. Like there's no point in feeling guilty about it. Just be mindful, find out, okay, so what was going on at that time, and what made me decide to eat a cookie when I wasn't planning on doing that. And that's just part of being mindful. And yeah, it's just continue, like just move forward, just keep going, eat your food and enjoy it. And if you feel also like you need more food, like, it's like, I don't think I'm getting enough, something's missing, then pay attention to your body, pay attention to that. But just, yeah, just be mindful. And, are you losing weight maybe too fast, or maybe you're not getting nutrients, like, and analyze your diet, go back to the balanced plate and see, is it really balanced? And so I'm just going to end off there by saying, if you want to track your food and you feel okay with it, then that's great. By all means, just track your food. This is not a one size fits all. It's everybody is different, and we should appreciate our differences and celebrate our differences rather than look at them as big challenges and problems that we have, like flaws. Everybody's different, and we should look at that. Okay, so that is the end of that video. Now, if you have any suggestions, because I am going to do a lot of talks on nutrition, if you have any suggestions, just let me know in the comment section, and I will try to address that, or any way that I can expand on anything that I was talking about today. I really enjoyed this. Thank you very much for watching.